Happy Wednesday. We have Karen here. Hi, Karen, Lisa, and Rima. It's good to see you, Rima. It's been a while.
Hello, yes, it has been a while. Love to hear Amanda speak, so yay.
Yay!
I love it. Yeah, we're
Hopefully learn a few things. Hi, Lisa.
good to see you again, Lisa.
Since I don't know Lisa or Karen, and I think we're waiting for some folks to join. If you would like sharing about a little bit about you and just what are you hoping to get out of this, just so I am aware and can address your needs too.
My name's Lisa Johnson. I used to work for the County of San Diego and I just was for 20 years and I retired and I came aboard the regional center. So I have the little kiddos from 0 to 5. And I'm always looking for something new to learn.
Amazing.
So I'm just dangerous enough to be dangerous.
I love that. That is such a great little catch line. Awesome. All right. Well, hopefully we'll teach you a little bit more. And you said you work with the 0 to 5. Did I hear that right?
0 to 5, yes.
Perfect. Right. This is amazing to understand in terms of development and supporting your patrons, I guess. So good. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Karen, you're welcome to share too, or you can just type in the chat box. I think, Rebecca, you're going to monitor the chat box, right? I don't have to worry about it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Prayer ministry. Awesome. I've done some presentations for some
Karen's done
folks
a
like you
luncheon.
too.
Yeah, Karen's done a luncheon for herself. I know you've been on, Amanda, we've talked about Karen before, but for those who are new, Karen is our ministry director. So if any family is going through a crisis, or if they're just going through a really hard time, if they just got newly diagnosed or somebody passed away or anything that's going on that life happens, we call Karen and she calls and leaves a prayer message for them, or she can give them a call and pray with them on the phone. Doesn't matter your religion. She's there to support.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you, Karen, for providing that service.
So Karen's been with us for the whole 21 years that Autism Tree has existed, and we love her.
Wow, amazing. I love Rima, your whatever you just didn't even know you can do that. That's amazing. Carlos, hello. I feel like we've met at some point. We're just doing a quick intros and what you're hoping to get out of the presentation with me today. You are welcome to share, unmute, or you can type or not share anything at all. It's up to you.
I just asked him to unmute, so.
No, here we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hello. Well, the main reason I'm here is I haven't been on one of these lunch and learns for a very long time. I just wanted to actually touch bases, say hi to everyone.
Oh,
I'm so
And
honored.
we miss
there's
you.
always, I always enjoy listening to a lot of these things. Of course, my daughter is now in her mid-30s,
Okay.
as you guys know, and doing very well, by the way. But I think for the last 2 months, I've been trying to find a way to log in and say hi, and something's always come up. So,
Glad you're here today.
I know.
yeah, exactly. So,
Good.
and yes, Katrina and the whole family is doing well, but Katrina's doing very well right now.
Good.
Continuing to spread her wings a bit.
Awesome. That's what we want to hear.
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
not, that's okay too. That's why she has this support
Yeah,
network.
no, she's doing very well. I got to brag about one thing. She, July 29, I think it is. That's a Sunday. And they're going to have a special event in Hollywood, and they're going to give her out an award for up and coming singer
Oh, wow.
in Hollywood, because she performs there a lot. So,
Wow.
That's
yeah.
incredible.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Congratulations to Katrina. She is a really talented, like operatic type of singer. Just so
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Who sings cabaret, so she's had to change her voice to go from opera to cabaret, but she's doing it. But she's
She
been
gonna
doing
do a
that
little
for
opening
years.
number for a neurodiversity conference?
Huh?
Opening act?
that would
Let
be
us know.
amazing.
Or yeah, let us know.
Wouldn't that be like
The
a nice wow
opportunity to
factor
sing.
though? Come on, Rebecca.
Huh?
Like during the break time, we can.
Yeah, like stick around, listen to, you
Oh,
know.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. She used to pre-pandemic sing I do a lot of prison ministry. And pre-pandemic she used to sing, go into for Sunday services and sing a
Oh,
Christian song for the
amazing.
inmates.
I'm sure they love that.
And I was in RJ Donovan's yesterday, and all I'm hearing, and you're talking what 5, 6 years ago before she sang, everyone's coming up to me and when is she coming back? All this. So we'll have to see if A, she's still interested, and then we have to go through the whole prison clearance process, which is not always fun.
Wow.
But it's entertaining. So yes, she's doing very well. And
Yeah, we'd love to see
the
you
show,
guys at this year's conference. We'd love to see you guys again. Katrina was a panelist on our Living Artistically panel in 2019. Was it called?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
What's
and
really interesting is she has a whole cabaret show, as you guys well know about being autistic. At one point, she brings up being on that panel. It's kind of part of her monologue in the show is
That's cool.
relating about that very same panel discussion. So
Impact is so important, right? I think that's why we do what we do. And I am so honored that Rebecca invited me to speak for Autism Tree. And I'm honored that you all decided to spend your 1 hour of your afternoon with me today. And
no
hopefully you'll
problem.
take away some nuggets. And, you know, the great thing is our program at Brain Balance is for anybody. You don't have to be struggling or diagnosed with anything. And it's pretty much all ages as well. So I hope you walk away with some information for yourself personally, as well as professionally. And of course, I'm open to questions throughout. You don't have to wait to the end. So Rebecca, same thing. If you see a question pop up, feel free to interrupt. No big deal, right? I'm not a fan of waiting to the very end when it's no longer relevant sometimes. So, okay. All right. Well, lots to go through. So I'm going to share my screen. And can you just give me a thumbs up once you see it load? Because on my end, it's still loading. Good. Okay. I'm going to... Can you see everything on the right side panel, or is there certain parts that are blocked off?
we can just see the slideshow. It's perfect.
Okay. I know when I do it, sometimes when I have you all on my right side right now in that panel view, that sometimes it blocks the words and whatnot, but if it's fine, then I want to leave it so I can engage with you a little more. Because sometimes it's just my face and it's not so fun.
No problem.
Okay.
Great.
Welcome again, everyone. My name is Amanda. I'm the Regional Director for Brain Balance, and we're here to talk about a non-medical approach to supporting your needs. And I really want to talk about building and optimizing brain health. In the end, it's all about your brain and what it helps you do, right? A drug-free, integrated multimodal approach to improve attention, behavior, cognition, and so much more. We are Brain Balance of Greater San Diego. We do have 3 locations across the county. Our main location is in Carmel Mountain Ranch, and then we have 2 satellite centers in Encinitas as well as Chula Vista. So we kind of cover all of San Diego County. And the other great thing is we can do our program virtually. So we serve people from all over the nation and internationally as well. So just know that. I always love to start off my trainings with a little warm-up activity, prime the brain and get you all going. We'll keep it short and sweet this time though. So we're working a little auditory processing activity. It's kind of like Simon Says, but I'm going to say Amanda Says, okay? So if you hear me say Amanda Says, you do the activity. Again, you're invited. You don't have to participate. But if you don't hear me say that, you don't do it, okay? Unlike the typical game, you're not just out. Please continue if you would like, all right? So Amanda says, touch your head. Amanda says, cross your arms. Amanda says, wave hello to everybody. Touch your nose. Oh, good. Amanda says, give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs down. Ah, I got one of you, okay. Amanda says, stretch really high up. And if you are seated or standing, just whatever's most comfortable, just slowly exhale. Amanda says slowly exhale and reach down to your toes or as far as you can go. And really feel that back stretch. And Amanda says, whenever
Amanda
you're
didn't
ready.
say it.
Amanda did say, Amanda says, when you're ready to exhale and just slowly come back up, one vertebrae at a time. Amanda says, reach behind your chair again, only as comfortable as you are. Get that back stretch and make sure you go on both sides. Amanda didn't say do both sides, but yes, please. Amanda says do both sides now. All right. And then Amanda says just do some shoulder rolls. Make sure you go in both directions. Amanda does encourage you to do that, both directions. And when you're ready, Amanda says, give me a little, excellent. Okay, awesome. All right, so thanks for entertaining me. I hope it warmed you up a little bit. Okay, so disclaimer, this is a presentation for educational purposes only. Please seek a different medical professional if you're wanting a diagnosis or wanting advice on treatment. I'm here to talk to you about brain health and the research that's out there, as well as what Brain Balance does specifically for kids, teens, and adults, okay? But my background, as actually, maybe I did mention, let me go to that page. I am not only the regional director, my background is actually in education. I have been in this space for probably about 20 years now. I also have a couple certificates with Mindset, which is a behavior training I get certificate, I guess, for lack of better terms, but also I'm an internationally board certified cognitive coach, and my team is also well qualified and certified for the most part as well. And so I love doing this kind of work because where else are you going to learn about it? There's so much information out there. Sometimes there's a lot of conflicting information as well. So please, I encourage you, I hope that I inspire you to want to learn more for yourself and for your clients and for your families and friends, because one of the things I talk about in general is that we all interact with somebody who's neurodivergent or who can improve their processing or cognition in some way. And you only can do as much as you know, right? You don't know what you don't know. So this is definitely an honor for me to share a little bit more. And we do at Brain Balance see all walks of life. I mentioned we see pretty much all ages from about age 3 to my oldest student being 93 this year. And we have folks who struggle with focus or ADHD symptoms, to anxiety being probably the #1 mental health challenge that we see, as well as anger management, to stress management, memory, whether it's retention and learning in school, to aging adults, and the whole gamut, honestly. We also see high-performing athletes and musicians and dancers and those who are just looking to enrich their overall well-being and brain health, okay? So what is Brain Balance? We have a really neat integrated approach that optimizes your sensory processing, your cognition and social emotional skills learning, as well as incorporating nutrition into our training. So this optimal approach is key because we're able to stimulate as many different parts of the brain as possible, again, to be able to support overall brain health. But I want to make sure we're on the same page. What does brain health mean? According to the World Health Organization, it is the state of brain functioning. Oops, sorry. Trying to move a bar. It's the state of brain functioning across cognitive, sensory, social, emotional, behavioral, and motor domains, allowing a person to realize their full potential over the life course, irrespective of the presence or absence of disorders. Love this definition. This is from World Health Organization. And I love this because it's very neurodiversity affirming, and that's something we aim to do as well. Be affirming and help you know that the challenges and struggles that one may have doesn't define you, and there's so many positives to those differences as well. I do a lot of these types of trainings, and that's one of my main goals. And for me personally, my personal passion is helping everybody reach their full potential, have the opportunity to reach their full potential, as well as thrive. And the fact that that term is in this definition, it really resonates with me, and I hope it resonates with you as well. So I mentioned earlier, everything starts with the brain. So how we experience life, physically, emotionally, socially, it really depends on how our brain is connecting and not connecting and what's going on with development. And the interesting thing is that when we think of development, we tend to think of kids. So for someone like Lisa here, she's working with 0 to 5, very important time of development for children, the brain and social emotional skills, motor skills, language, everything. But development is lifelong. Our brain continuously changes our entire lives, and it's not something that we should ignore once you're quote unquote an adult, okay? So in terms of development and in terms of functioning, something that we all need to be aware of is that there's a series of systems, all right? And all these systems rely on other developmental abilities and areas to be sound, to be able to synchronize and work together for us to function at our best. There's no such thing as perfection, right? There's no such thing as a perfect person and a perfect brain. However, there is such a thing as not struggling, right? Especially compared to peers, for instance. So we typically see a lot of folks who come to us, they are struggling with something, whether it's mood, behavior, learning, social skills, focus, motor skills, right? And that's all the stuff at that top of that pyramid there. But keep in mind, again, all these other systems need to be in place to support that type of expectation and performance. So this is an idea that we have put together in this pyramid, essentially, that tells you that this progression to development is necessary to drive cognitive success. Again, whether you're a little 3-year-old, 5-year-old to a 90-something-year-old, all right? All these places or all these elements need to be in place for us, again, to support our own well-being and performance. So in terms of development, there's no sound here, don't worry, but this is just a visual to show you, 0 to 5 is a key time because from 0 to 1, for instance, babies' brains double in size, all right? From the womb, they are now born and blast into an environment where there are tons of sensory input, right? They have reflexes that help them move around in the world before they gain control and are able to independently, say, roll over or crawl, right, and engage. They're trying different foods. There are all these touch and social interactions that blast the brain with all these neurons and connections. And by about age 5, they actually physically grow about 95% of their brain. People don't realize that. And by about age 25, they grow, the full physical size of the brain and areas like the frontal lobe that's so responsible for reasoning and learning, for instance, that becomes more, quote unquote, fully developed. However, I mentioned neuroplasticity is important because we need to understand that these connections are forever, and it's these connections that affect our well-being and our functioning. And this is research that continuously is supported by, say, study of University of Cambridge, University of San Francisco, and so much more. But essentially, again, summing that up, it means that brain connectivity is involved in things like ADHD, cognition, learning, behaviors, and mental health, all right? It's not just about the regions. So that, again, old school idea, right? The frontal lobe, that's still developing. It's an excuse for behavior or learning or whatnot. But then once you're an adult, what's happening, right? And by the way, the term that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, quite a fallacy, right? So we need to know, how do we build up these connections and how do we function at our best? Because ultimately, what we like to say at Brain Balance, at least, is a balanced brain is a teachable brain. And what that means is, when we have all these connections that are flowing like they're supposed to, basically think of it as a lot of highways, right, in the brain. If we don't have traffic jams, we're able to function at our best. Again, not be perfect, but we're functioning at our best. But when we hit those traffic jams, when GPS sends us the wrong way, whatever may be happening, that's when we have challenges, say, with learning, with making or keeping friends, with managing our emotions, whether it's anxiety or having, anger management challenges, to how clumsy we are, right? How well we just engage with the world. So these imbalances are just indications, these symptoms are indications that, hey, the brain is not working as efficiently as we would like. And I'm talking about functional disconnections, okay? I'm not necessarily talking about the physical disconnections, like in, traumatic brain injury, for instance. Not to say that your brain can't improve. We see a lot of people with TBI on trauma and other components that they've experienced in life that affect how they're functioning today. But we know that the brain is extremely resilient when it's stimulated properly, when it's personalized to you, and when we know what we really want to work on. So underconnectivity in the brain is the big root cause, right? The underlying foundational cause of a lot of challenges, including things like meltdowns, sensory processing disorders, again, social behaviors, the things that we mentioned with those symptoms you typically see, okay? And so we know the stronger you can build up those connections, again, the better you're going to process in the world and function in the world. But the question is how, right? How do we build connectivity? That's the main question. And we know the brain needs just enough stimulus, basically. It can't be too much challenge. It can't be too little challenge. There needs to be repetition, and it needs to be progressively challenging as well to continue developing. So at Brain Balance, what we do is we start with an assessment. We help adults or kids understand where is their foundation right now, get a baseline for their functioning, and then we're able to personalize the program and build up those connections essentially based on their baseline assessment. All right. And so we look at all these different domains of health, and we're supporting all these different domains, which allows us to be successful in just a few months. So we look at areas like sensory processing. Again, the main ways we get the brain excited is sensory engagement and stimuli, just enough challenge, movement, all right, that novelty as well. So motor domains, behavioral domains, social, emotional, and cognitive. It's quite unique globally, actually. Nobody puts together the combination of these sensory motor experiences with, again, the cognitive, social, emotional piece with nutrition. And this whole foundation is supported, and we're essentially building a toolbox rather than just giving you tools and band-aids to support whatever challenges that you may be seeing. And what's neat is you may be coming into Brain Balance for one thing, like say sensory processing or emotional regulation or learning, but it's all these domains that are being supported, so you improve in all these areas. And that, I would say, is a pleasant surprise for a lot of the students, whether again kid or adult. You know, when they come in here, again, they come in for a very specific reason, but they get to see benefits as a whole, right, across the board because of this trifecta approach, basically. All right. So Brain Balance, we again use the movement. We have a lot of neurotechnology. We have our cognitive performance app. This is one of our adults wearing some of the sensory gear, because sometimes people are wondering, what does that mean, right? So we're literally wearing specific glasses that are different colors to stimulate different parts of the brain, and they flash in different ways. We have a metronome and different music that stimulate your auditory processing in different parts of the brain. We have different smells. The olfactory system is stimulated. We have different tactile and proprioceptive stimulation to help you feel your body and literally feel a little buzzing and sensation on your self while you're doing specific exercises. And so this is just a small, preview of what kind of things you would be doing, from working on primitive reflexes. We don't have enough time to go into it, but again, do you have control of your body? That was the base of that pyramid, right? Developmental pyramid, to working on agility and balance, to working on rhythm and timing and the neural syncing of all these systems, visual processing and auditory processing, which are very complex systems in the brain. We want to be able to stimulate that and work on some of those cognitive and social skills too, right? And all of that is happening in one training session. So if everything can be stimulated as much as possible in the same training session, that's what's most powerful. And that's why our program is only a few months rather than years. You're not coming to us, week after week for year upon year. You're coming to us, if you're a youth, at least 3 times a week. Typically, we're asking for an hour. You're doing over 30 different exercises and activities, and it goes by very, very fast. And then you're expected to do some basic home exercises as well, in combination with the nutrition plan, meeting with our nutritionist. And if you're an adult, we ask that you do your training at home or wherever on your own about 4 days out of the week, and 1 day out of the week you're training with us. And again, this could be in person, or it could be virtual, or it could be a hybrid situation. So extremely flexible, and the research backs that up. So speaking of research, what is the impact of this approach? We have a lot of our research on our website, brainbalance.com/research. And we have folks like Harvard. They did an independent study looking at ADHD and noted how our program, Brain Balance, and just a portion of Brain Balance, not even the full shebang, just a portion of the Brain Balance program in really showed and indicated that we are as effective as low dose medication, right? Stimulant medication. And that's pretty powerful. And they did the brain scans and everything. To Cambridge Brain Sciences, which is now, by the way, called Creos Health, global brain research company. A lot of practitioners like ourselves use them for research, but also to assess cognition and based off of both demographic and gender, so age, demographic, and gender. But they showed how just a few months in the Brain Balance program as well improved in 12 different cognitive areas. So we know, again, we have the research to support how emotional well-being, focus, cognition, and more supports your goals. And it's not just from the researchers, but from parents as well, through the anecdotes and surveys we do with them, to even teachers. That's one of our more recent published studies. And of course, the students themselves. We have a lot of testimonials from students, from the breakthroughs that they write down to the videos that they record. And we actually just celebrated 5 years in San Diego as a company. We've been around for about 20 years now, again, global company. And it's really amazing the impact that we've been able to provide for, again, all walks of life, and how, whether they're in the program or just learning through webinars like this, you're given the resources and the information to make the best decision for yourself, right? And for your family and for your clients, for instance. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So I love being able to be someone who has that global impact. I've done trainings on brain health and neurodiversity and ADHD and more, both locally, nationally, and internationally at this point. And our website, brainbalancesandiego.com, shares a lot more information about the program, about or really offering other free resources. In fact, if you go to bit.ly/BBSD events, that is on our website as well, just takes you straight to our events page. We have plenty of free events every single month, usually about 2 webinars, and then also different resources. And next week, for instance, we have one on screen time. Next month, we have one for a parent workshop, essentially, to reconnect with the joy of parenting, when it can be so difficult with a neurodivergent child, and more. So please stay in touch with us. That's our general information there. I can also reply to you if you message me directly, and that's the information down below. All right. So that's brain balance in a nutshell for you, and brain health and how it affects you, whether you're a little or you're a senior, an aging, active adult. All right. And I'm here to support you and answer any questions.
Thank you, Amanda. I want to open it up to any questions from anybody. You can type it in the chat or unmute yourself. I think my first question is, how many neurodiverse children and families have you served?
Hundreds. Yeah, I collected a bunch of data. And so at our 5-year anniversary back in May, I posted a lot of those numbers. So we've served hundreds of families in our San Diego Center alone. As a whole company, we've served about 60,000 people. So we have all that data. Yeah. Me personally, our center has served over 7 different countries. As a whole company, we've worked with over 40 different countries.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any questions? I want to see everyone.
I know. Sometimes I was like clicking right now so I can see.
So that means you can help me improve my memory and restore its processes a little bit?
Absolutely. So things naturally change in the brain, but it does not mean we have to just throw our hands up and accept it and just cope. I am here to support you and your, again, well-being, and helping you be the best you, right, through as long as possible. And that's where some of our older adults, I would say, come to us for training. Things change, right? Hormones change and whatnot, but the brain is what's changing too, and we can help you sharpen that up.
So if you were, oh, great. Carlos has his hand raised. Carlos, you can go ahead. I'll ask my question.
I do apologize. I was just playing with this thing and I didn't realize I raised my hand, but I'll just ask a very quick question. There was a lot of discussion about ADHD. What other kinds of uh, services do I've of course I've worked with and seen uh, a lot of autistic children who have
Mhm.
a lot of different challenges. So
Uh-huh.
what other challenges do you work with?
Yeah, so we see definitely a lot of ADHD. I would say over half of those 60,000 people we've worked with, that's one of their number one challenges, looking for that non-medical approach. But we see autism as well, which is also quite a spectrum. So that's why I drop like sensory processing disorder, auditory processing as well. We see people with dyslexia and learning challenges or comprehension challenges, dyscalculia, dyspraxia. We also see people with the mental health challenges, like I mentioned, anxiety, depression. We see eating disorders. We see anger management challenges. We see people who are in early stages of Alzheimer's or in dementia. We see really, again, everything. And again, it's not always diagnosed, right? We're a non-medical
Yeah,
program.
that happened. I
Yeah.
have an interesting one.
Yeah.
Of course, we talked about Katrina. She has something called dyscalculia.
Dyscalculia. Yeah. For math.
Yes, that's it,
Mhm. Yeah,
dyscalculia.
we see
She's
that too.
yeah, it's interesting because she went to a music conservatory and she can't do basic math. So
Mhm.
they
And it,
the school basically gave her a tutor to help her do music theory because she just
mhm.
couldn't manage it. So I
Yeah, and see those tools and like that tutor, right? It supports surface level what you're seeing, but it doesn't actually address what's going on in the brain. And that's something she doesn't have to struggle with for the rest of her life. She's still young. You said she's, early 30s right now, right? I see many adults who have struggled with dyslexia, which is generally speaking, difficulty reading, right, and decoding. People with ADHD, diagnosed or not, just these adults who've really tried to manage their whole lives, and maybe they managed okay, but they're still not satisfied, right? They're not getting that promotion. They're not able to have those meaningful relationships, those even basic daily frustrations of executive functioning challenges, right? So we see it all, again, diagnoses or not, it really is about how can you function at your best and not struggle as much as someone that's typical of your age, if you will. Yeah. Even perimenopausal, I've seen a couple women as well at our San Diego center, because again, the brain's changing.
Thank you, Carlos. And Karen also said this is so empowering, especially knowing how medicine is always a risk.
Yes, definitely. A lot of people come to us, and just to clarify, I'm not against medication at all, but we know that it's not the right fit for everyone. For instance, speaking of ADHD, there are thousands of options out there, and about a quarter of the population don't respond to any of it. All right, so that's one thing. But we'll get families where that's the first option that they're given once their child is diagnosed or even, hint of it having ADHD, and they're like, okay, well, is there another option? Because a medication is just a Band-Aid, right? It's a temporary relief. If it works, it changes their kiddos. Yesterday, I was at a networking event and we were talking about some of the effects of medication and some of the families that come to us wanting to get off of it, because I had a little girl who used to sing all the time. And once she got on the medication, she stopped. And as soon as she got off, she started singing that beautiful voice again, just like your kiddo, right? To another, which is very common to hear this too, they stop growing, right? The prime years when you should be sprouting in your preteen years. I had a student who literally stopped growing, but because he wasn't losing weight, the doctors weren't concerned. And as soon as he got off, he sprouted, and he's nowhere near the height, of his family members. He's a pretty skinny, scrawny dude. And he always wondered, he's an adult now. He always wondered, if I wasn't on medication, what would be my size and my frame and whatnot, because his whole family is athletic. He's athletic, but he's not quite at their level, so there's a lot of effects. And I have a lot of kids who want to be off of it too, because they don't like how it feels or whatever it may be. So having a non-medical approach that actually gets to the root of what's happening, I think is key. And then I've had plenty of families who joined our program to reduce their medication as well. So maybe you're on, you say 5-10 different medications, you're able to reduce some or eliminate some. That's a win too, right? Sometimes I talk about, what does a 10, 20, 30% improvement in X, Y, or Z, what does that mean to you? What does that impact look like? That's really important to both be on the same page about, to ensure that this program is the right fit.
And Carla asked, do you work with central processing disorder with people?
Yeah, again, it's not about the diagnosis. We know what's going on, and it's about disconnections in the brain. So yeah, absolutely. Sensory processing it's all about the brain.
And so just to give our like brand new families an option, maybe they're considering this. Can you walk us through what it would look like for them to go through the process of getting brain balance?
Yeah, totally. And so first, most people find us Google referral, whether it's through Autism Tree or another family or schools, sometimes the regional center. And so people first look into it, is this what you're looking for? Are you looking for that non-medical approach? Are you looking for something that's actually getting to the root of the problem? Or are you looking for something else, right? So if the answer is yes and yes, then you first start off with a phone call. Our program specialists will do the first intake call to see what's happening, get a little information and make sure that we think it's the right fit as well, because this has to be a mutually good fit. And generally speaking, the answer is yes, but again, we need to make sure we do our due diligence as well to set expectations and make sure we're supporting your needs. And then you set up an assessment. So the assessment typically takes about an hour and a half, and we have appointment times throughout the day, throughout the week. They all happen at our San Diego center, though. I do want to make that clear. Our two other centers are satellite centers. So everything happens at the San Diego center in Carmel Mountain Ranch. So it takes about an hour and a half. We want to make sure all parties, whether it's parents, caregivers, whoever it may be, who are involved and highly involved in that child, for instance, and their well-being, make sure that they're at that meeting, because while your kiddo is doing their assessment, having fun, and really it is fun, right? I showed you, let me go back to that page. They're going around the room doing all these different activities. We usually, myself or the executive director, are meeting with those caretakers and talking about, okay, full picture, all the history, what's going on, what's your goal, what's brain balance about, is this the right fit, and really have that strategic plan moving forward after this assessment. And then if the answer is yes, and like, okay, let's move forward with brain balance, then we'll talk about, the schedule, and again, setting expectations. What are the home exercises? There's orientation. So we get rolling. The great thing is we don't have a wait list. We have plenty of flexibility between our 3 centers and different times and different options. So unlike a lot of other programs that have pretty long wait lists, we don't. Our assessments are usually about 2 weeks out, booked out 2 weeks out. So it's not too long, and then getting enrolled, we can get started usually sooner than later. So I would say that's the flow, if that helps.
And you mentioned the full process is around 3 months?
Yeah, so it's only a few months. So the minimum program is about 4 months. Most people are 4 to 6 months, I want to say. But if you're someone with autism that has a little bit more severe challenges, a little bit more developmental delays, or a lot more developmental delays, they tend to be 6 months to a year.
And Carla
Yeah.
also asked, what is the cost? Do you guys work with insurances and kind of?
So we're non-medical, so we don't work directly with insurance companies, I should say. We do private pay, we do installment plans, and we also do financing through a third party. The regional center, we have accepted self-determination funds in the past. That's been distributed, so we're still working on that relationship with the regional center, and conversations are being had to keep that consistent. And then other families also access the program through not self-determination, 529 education funds, so tax credits as well. And if you have a flex saving or health savings account, typically that gets reimbursed as well. We just give you an invoice. Cost of the program, the first is the assessment, is usually $295 for being partners though. So usually if anyone's coming through us through Autism Tree or any other partner referral, we'll give you $100 off. So it's just $195, covers the entire assessment and report and everything in between. And there's no mandatory commitment or anything or obligation afterwards, which is nice. If you're in the program, it really depends on how long you're in the program. So we'll explain that during the assessment and what it all entails and all the different options as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any last minute questions or just want to say hi to Amanda? We had a few people join during her talk, so if you missed
Awesome.
it,
Hello, everyone.
free to
You
ask.
might need a participant group.
Um,
For those
Hi.
that did, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so I didn't catch the cost of the program.
The cost of the whole program is dependent on how long you're in program. So depending on what your needs are and the different options we have, it's all variable. But minimum 4 months. And by the way, I didn't mention this, but typically there's phase 1, which is the I call it brain boot camp, right? The multiple days a week, home exercise, nutrition, progress reports, right? The whole gamut. And there's also phase 2, which is a year of support, which I find a lot of our families really benefit from, because once we train the brain, phase 1 is all about setting the foundation. Phase 2 is all about seeing and reaping the benefits of that foundation. So not to say that you won't see changes in phase 1, absolutely you will. We talk about that in our progress report meetings. However, phase 2 is when you can really set more developmentally appropriate expectations and begin to really layer on those other tools and skill sets. So it's inclusive of the entire journey. So it just depends.
Oh, okay. I mean, if you were to do a 4-month program, for example, what are we looking at for the cost for something like that?
Yeah, so if you're just doing the main program for the kiddos, 4-month, or really 48 sessions is what we're counting, plus again the whole next year and all the services in between, right? That whole journey, the cost starts at $9,500. And again, there's options to pay up front and get a discount, installment plan, financing, and those other I like to say payment options.
Is this a year-round program? Do you guys work year-round, or
Yeah, you could enroll anytime. We have people
Okay.
graduating, enrolling every single week.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
and that's why, we have availability, because it's not like we have to enroll at different times, because everyone's a different program, right? Some people are only 48 sessions, some people are 60 sessions, 5 months, right? Some people are 9 months, right? When they're more severe. Sometimes people need to take a break, and again, those are the conversations we have all throughout the journey. There's no surprises, and, to be super clear, this is a team effort. We can't do this on our own. We're not a silver bullet. We're not trying to cure anything. We're trying to support the overall foundation for functioning. And it has to be us as a team, clear, transparent communication, and putting in that the hard work to be able to, be our best, basically. And we're very, very successful at it.
Love
It's
it.
definitely
love
commitment.
I love Amanda has her information there. We'll also send out a recap email that has her information in it if you want to reach out. And I'd love to take a group picture of everybody before we
Yes,
is that okay?
I would love that. Send that
Okay.
to me too.
Definitely. So I'm gonna ask you to stop sharing your screen, Amanda.
Okay.
So bring everybody up. And then if you'd like to share your camera, you're definitely welcome to. I'd love to see everyone's smiling faces. Let me see. Gallery. Perfect. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Cheese. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you again, Amanda. This was
You're
really
welcome.
and really great. Hope everyone has a happy rest of your day.
Yeah, happy week, happy summer coming up. Enjoy the sunshine, move your body, stimulate that brain, socialize, get some sleep, eat well, right? All the basics for brain health, okay?
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.